Very pleased to be joined by the head coach at Gonzaga, Mark Few, as they prepare for their game against Northwestern tomorrow. Coach, let's talk about your team first, and there's been so much focus on you guys all year. How have they dealt with the pressure?
I think amazingly well. It's interesting, that we had these preseason rankings and all these things, but we literally had more new faces in the program this year than ever before. So it's kind of been remarkable how they've assimilated, came together, sacrificed, gave up roles and shots and minutes, to have the type of success we've had. And so I think because of that, I think the pressure part of it has been kind of put to the wayside, and these guys have just really thoroughly enjoyed playing together and winning together. Winning solves a lot of issues, and it's really it's been an amazing year. And this guy was up here for a lot of the years back in the day, so he's seen a lot of Zag teams and a lot of Zag wins. But this is a special group.
Yeah, it's clear, and of course, you're right. I mean, I've followed you guys for many years and have continued to do so. And the thing that has stood out to me about this group as I've watched you guys is how connected you are on defense, and it just feels like that would be such a challenge with as many new faces as you have. And so how have you been able to do that?
I think a couple things. First of all, Nigel Williams-Goss is easily the best communicator, guy that talks more than anybody I've ever coached on defense, which seems really simple to do, but to try to get college athletes to do that, I think across the board, I mean, if you asked all of us coaches, it would be one thing you wanted our teams to do better, and that's talk. But I mean, he talks, so it's contagious. The second thing is just the rim protection level we've had when you got 2 7-footers back there, and the athleticism that we have on the back end with Collins and Jonathan Williams and even Tilly. That's been a huge aspect. And then the final thing is having a guy like Jonathan Williams. I mean, he's I think you saw the other night in the South Dakota State game what we've been able to do with him. He can switch ball screens. He can sit down and guard guards and bigs and chase them out on the perimeter, as well as hang out in the paint, which is such a great option to have, especially with so many fours playing out on the perimeter.
We are the Big Ten Network, so I need to ask you about the Big Ten team.
BTN,
Yes,
yeah,
so let me ask you about Northwestern.
Yeah.
What stands out as you watch them and you prepare for them?
Chris has done a great job with them, man. They run some great schemes, and I'm always looking for different stuff. I mean, we run 5,800 of them, and they seem like they run about 5,800 different things. So I love all the stuff he's doing there. They play, you can tell they're in the Big Ten. They're a physical, tough, minded group. Really impressed. You don't see this very much anymore. Their guards can really make those mid-range shots, either pull-ups or they get down the lane and hit kind of floaters and scoops and things. So that's something that we have to adjust to. They love to, and I'm sure going to double the post, big to big. We see that a lot because our, Karnowski's such a force down there, and Collins is so efficient. So we've been really good with that all year. But again, I'm sure they're going to kind of bring a different variety, and I think that'll be kind of those aspects, guarding those guards out there on the perimeter, and playing through the double team on the other end.
Mark, you've had so many opportunities through the years to go elsewhere, and yet you have chosen to stay at Gonzaga. Yeah. Chris Collins obviously is going to become a very hot coaching commodity. What caused you to stay, and what would be the advice you'd give him as he heads forward? I know you're not in the business of giving advice, and everyone's situation's different, but you remain loyal, and you stayed in a place where a lot of people just assumed you were going to leave.
Yeah, well, a couple things. I think Gonzaga has been in growth mode from day one. Since I started, we've been able to build and build, incrementally to where it's a big time job. I mean, if you look at 2 out of the last 3 or 4 years, we've been a #1 seed.
Right.
So I like winning, probably more than anything, and we win a lot. So we're really competitive. The facilities have grown. The way we travel is it's up to the standards of the highest levels. The way they take care of our staff, the the same way, and yet we're still in growth mode. You know, for me, being a Pacific Northwest guy that loves to fly fish, and mountain bike, and my family's from the Northwest, my wife's family's from the Northwest, Spokane's just been a perfect place to build a national program. I mean, you're right, Chris is a huge talent and is somebody that could probably have the pick any job he wants. I just, you know, it'll be up to him and what he and his family wants, and you know, hopefully Northwestern's smart enough to try to do everything they can to keep him.
Last thing I want to ask you, the Final Four is always out there. It's always the grail for you guys. How do you handle kind of going into every year? And that's always the question that people ask.
I mean, I think probably better than anybody, I enjoy the journey. You know, I think I've always thought it's really shallow to just focus on the Final Four. I think it would be great. It's something that we haven't done. But at the same time, I think it's kind of naive and short-sighted when these seasons last 6 months to not savor those road wins you have, you know, where it's just you against the world, the league championships, just all those steps you take on the journey, man. And if you don't do that, I think you're missing the whole point. Obviously, my team, my staff, we want to get to a Final Four worse than anybody, but I think we have enough balance in our lives. We understand that there's a lot of great stuff, a lot of fun stuff happening along the way, too, to not just put all the eggs in one basket.
Well, Coach, congratulations on all your success. Really good to see you, and thanks for your time.
It's great to see you again. You're doing well.
Well, that's all relative.
You've aged really well. Not at all. You're the same guy that used to
Too young looking
schlep
guys.
around in Spokane.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Yep.